Say, man, Jaguar Wright was invited to the Piers Morgan show, and she was asked to give her thoughts on the Diddy case, the music industry, and her opinion about Diddy overall. Now, we don't know if anything that Jaguar Wright said in this interview was accurate or if she got any kind of evidence to support her claims, but she does have the right to speak her truth about what she's seen and what she know and give her opinion about the matter, as she was in the industry for over 30 years. And to be clear, Jaguar Wright is not some mythical character that's been silent in the shadows waiting on Diddy to be held accountable. Jaguar Wright has been on the internet for years, dropping a dime on the industry, the scandals, and the alleged evils that exist in it. Let's get to this content.
He's just the beginning. Until him and his cohorts are all held to account publicly and legally. The victims, they're not safe. I've been performing live since I was 13. My first handler was McKinley Horton. I come to find out 25 years later that a scar that was on his face with a very elaborate story he gave me was put there by a woman who he assaulted. To live through these things and hear your elders in the business, people like Patti LaBelle say, just avoid him, honey. And being taught to be just avoid him, honey. It's not good enough. Not when you live through these things, you're still suffering the PTSD created by all of this, and you're talking to a victim that's 20 years younger than you, and she's telling you the exact same thing that happened to you. So you want to know why there's no vindication for me? Because for 4 years, I've been screaming, not just Diddy, but Diddy and Jay-Z are monsters. And the victim-making machine kept going on.
Jay-Z has been notable by his silence since these charges were brought against Diddy. Why do you think that is?
Because that's what he does. He starts little fires everywhere, forces everyone involved to go and carry water while he sneaks away without a response. That changes now, Sean. You must respond. You have no choice. Harvey Weinstein, Jeffrey Epstein, Robert Kelly, Sean Combs have one person in common, professionally and privately: Sean Carter. This has been a fist of tyranny that has been punching through our culture and our society for decades. It must stop.
I think he is as a person.
I think he's one of the most dangerous people I've ever met. A lot of people have been questioning, well, she doesn't really know him. She has no knowledge of him. She doesn't have a picture with him. I'm smarter than Claudia Jordan. I would never take a picture with the devil. Everyone knew he was the devil. He's been the devil for 30 years. He's been covered and protected by not only Clive Davis, but Lucian Grange. He was selected to be the demon that he is, to keep the culture in line so the industry could continue to rape it for all of its precious jewels. We have too many lost. The list of lost is ridiculous. And everyone knows Diddy was selected for this job. He's the Judas.
Do you think that if he's cornered in the way that he's been now, that he may start revealing things about other people?
He has no choice. His ego and his drug addiction won't allow him to do anything different. Anybody who thinks he's not going to talk is crazy. The simple fact that he's not saying more now only means that the people who have been protecting him all along, who put him in position to be such a horror to the Black community, still find value in him. He's got everybody on tape. They all know it. See, this is the thing. Everything that I'm about to say to you is not my firsthand knowledge. It is my firsthand witness account experience. I was a sex worker. I was a dominatrix before I got my record deal. That's how I know how the dark world and the sex world and the entertainment world run hand in hand. That's why the movie Blink Twice is so important. Salute to Zoe Kravitz. The sex workers that I have worked with throughout the years and continue to work with even to this day have worn hidden cameras. I have my own tapes. I've seen what they do. The ritualistic behaviors, the drugging, putting girls in the suitcases, dumping them in alleyways. It's horrifying. And it's all done under the protection of, this is going to be paid off. There's another NDA. This is going to be, it's terrible. Everyone knows. And every person that's sitting there trying to act surprised knows very well. The whole point of this, like Cat Williams said when he sat with Shay Shay earlier this year, the whole point of this is for them in a coordinated effort to pretend like none of it is real for the public's perception. But everyone knows what's going on, and it's been going on for years. It's been going on before Diddy. See, people keep looking at him like he's the Sputnik that came out of nowhere. This is someone who was designed to be what he is. We got to stop making Diddies. And if we're going to do that, then we got to go back. We got to go back to even further, the mentors of these people. Because Diddy was taught how to do what he does systematically, and Clyde Davis has been his greatest teacher. Because the Me Too movement was a ruse. It was a setup. It was a scam. I'm saying that now, publicly. Dream Hampton spearheaded the Surviving R. Kelly campaign, which fueled the Me Too campaign. And that was all funded by Sean Carter to make sure that Robert Kelly went to jail. Get his lick back. Why is nobody understanding that Dream Hampton was being financed and ran by Sean Carter? They were able to go and get all of these witnesses because he was there with Robert Kelly. How does Jay-Z sit down with Gayle King and she not ask him one question about the intersection between him and Aaliyah and Robert Kelly? This is insane that people keep refusing to see what's right there. If the Me Too movement were real, why aren't they speaking now? They've also been very quiet in this time of the diddler's downfall. The hundreds that I deal with still myself. I have 3 victims right now who are willing to give testimony about not only what Mr. Carter has done to them, but his wife as well. They're a nasty little couple. They do nasty things.
What do you think happened with Kim
Keeping people against their will. Putting people on planes while they're unconscious, just like Aaliyah got on that plane. Unconscious. There's a lot of things that people don't want to talk about, Pierce.
Damn. Jaguar Wright made about 2 different claims in this interview that I ain't even heard before yet. But that's what she do. When she go on any platform, she gonna give it up, man. She gonna be completely uncensored and unleashed. She don't care what she say. She just come on with it, man. Straight up, bro. And what's interesting to me is how can somebody go for so long and for so strong talking about the rich and the powerful and not a single silver suit, not a single cease and desist? Come on, bro. I'm just saying. Also, Piers Morgan had another guest on the show, the one we all love to hate, Vlad TV. Vlad was on the show, and he was asked to give his thoughts and his opinion on the same questions about Diddy, the industry, the parties, what's been going on, does all this stuff really exist, and also his thoughts about what Jaguar Wright just said. And here's what he had to say. Let's get to the content.
Well, Jaguar Wright is known to be a conspiracy theorist. I don't really co-sign anything that she says. I've never had her on my show, and I don't have any plans to have her on my show.
You don't believe her?
She's got an album in 20 years, and a lot of this stuff is just stuff she's heard, things she's making up, and so forth. I'm not saying that there aren't serious things that Diddy may have done, but yeah, I can't co-sign anything that Jaguar Wright is saying. I mean, ultimately, everyone wanted to go to Diddy's white parties when they were happening. You know, if I got an invite, I would go. But there's a party within a party. There's the actual party where the big celebrities go to, the Howard Sterns and the Leonardo DiCaprios and so forth. You never hear of any of them really being involved in any of this stuff. They go home, you know, at 2, 3 o'clock a.m. And then there's the private parties that seem to involve the sex workers and probably certain types of people that are kind of in an inner circle. No. And we'll see if those names ultimately come out or not. You know, I think that when it comes to a situation like the feds, cooperating is a very big thing. And I think if Diddy cooperates and gives up some big names of actual crimes that they committed, that'd be a way of actually, you know, lessening the amount of time that he does, or possibly even walking away. Yeah. I mean, that tape was horrific. And after our interview that we did with Roger Bonds, who I helped to bring onto the show, I did my own interview with Roger Bonds. It was a very in-depth, I think, two-hour interview where he goes into actually witnessing a lot of women that were physically abused by Diddy. I mean, not only Cassie, of course, which you saw multiple times, but Kim Porter. He was on a trip where Kim Porter got her nose broken allegedly by Diddy and flew in a plastic surgeon to fix it. There was a personal chef that Diddy beat up. I actually heard voicemails of her describing it. This wasn't even something that she wanted to come publicly with. There was other women as well that I got details on. So I think that Diddy has a long history of violence towards women, but also of men, because there's also the Steve Stout incident. If you remember that whole situation, he was in a music video with Nas, Hate Me Now, and there was a scene where Diddy was on the cross like Jesus, and I guess he went to Steve Stout afterwards and said that he wants to take that part out. That part wasn't taken out, so Diddy and his entourage show up at Steve Stout's office and they beat him with a champagne bottle, which they ultimately settled out of court for. So I think there's a lot of violence that has happened around him, and I think at this point, it's just catching up to him. And there will be others, but I don't think that the music industry is really having less situations than other industries. I mean, every industry has certain situations and they're high profile, and there's a bunch of other stuff that kind of falls below the radar.
Now, I appreciate the fact that Vlad, before he closed out this interview, made it a point to just put it out there that this type of stuff don't just go on in the music industry. This type of stuff be going on apparently in the music business, in the movie business, and everywhere else. These folks with all this money get together and have a good time. Again, everything that was said in this interview and everything that's being talked about online outside of court documents is all speculation and allegation. But we do have to ask ourselves a couple of questions, right? Like, number one, why is the industry so quiet? Why is everybody not talking about this? If you didn't go to any Diddy parties, if you absolutely against everything that's being alleged in these documents, why not speak out? Why ain't nobody saying nothing? For all of the people that went to these parties for years, nobody is saying anything. And I find that to be quite interesting. What are they worried about? Number two, hey, why is Jaguar Wright able to say these things for years and nobody come after her? No type of legal ramifications for all of the allegations and the claims that she's made about these people over and over again for years. It's on the internet. Just punch in her name, you'll see. And she just go ham. This interview right here, she was kind of bridled because I guess she was on a bigger platform or whatever, however you want to view it. She was kind of, she was kind of poised. She kept herself together. She held it together. And she really didn't give it up the way she normally give it up. But it's out there on the internet for anybody to go watch and for anybody to go hear all of the things and all of the claims that she already done made over and over again, time and time again. And I had never seen her come on the internet and say, well, somebody's suing me for this, somebody's suing me for that, or such and such sent the cease and desist. If it is, I missed it. Number 3, this whole Diddy situation, man, everybody out there got questions that's not being answered fast enough, and the only way they're gonna get answered is when he go to court. All of these other people saying all of these things, hey, it may be something to it, it may not be, but as the evidence start to come out in this case, we all have to look back at the claims that some of these people made online, whether you agree or disagree, whether you like them or don't like them. You're going to have to look at the evidence and go back and look what people said and say, well, damn, it had to be some truth to that. Hey, so it is what it is. We at where we at. I'll see y'all on the next one, man. Y'all be smooth. I'm out.